Right now, on to the point, breaking news. A Vacaville police officer killed in a crash. What we're learning about the investigation and who the officer was.
An update on when we see a break in the 100s and the dangerous heat, plus who will be under a red flag warning this weekend.
Plus how local cities are working to mitigate higher temperatures with cool pavement. And later, a fire power money investigation.
What I see is not what they promoted on TV.
PG&E facing more problems with customers as they work to underground their power lines. Tonight, an inside look on the ground.
We start tonight with a tragedy in Vacaville. The city has just confirmed that one of their officers was killed in the line of duty. Thank you so much for joining us. This is To the Point. I'm Alex Bell. Investigators say Officer Matthew Bowen was initiating a traffic stop this morning when he was hit from a car from behind. It happened at the intersection of Leisure Town Road and Orange Drive. Bowen was taken to the hospital where he later died. He was with the department since June of 2023 and leaves behind a wife and 2 sons. CHP says the driver, identified as 24-year-old Serena Rodriguez, tried to run after hitting Bowen, but was held by bystanders who saw the crash. She was arrested at the scene and she faces charges for homicide and driving under the influence. Right now, officials are asking people to avoid the area of the crash as they do continue to investigate. You can see there a very active scene. Make sure you stay with us on air and online. We will keep you updated as we learn more. And turning now to our weather with a live look over downtown Sacramento. We are in another stretch of triple-digit temperatures. Let's turn it over to Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods.
A record setter for today, Alex, 113 for downtown Sacramento, breaking the old record at 110. That 113, also the same temperature that we had over the holiday weekend. So those are going to be the hottest days so far this year. Other area highs, Sacramento Executive at 110, 111 for Marysville, Fairfield, and Stockton, 110 for Modesto, tying the record for today. Excessive heat warning in place through Saturday now, as well as our heat advisory that will also be in place through Saturday with some very warm overnight lows. So we're extending that weather impact alert through Saturday due to the heat. Limiting time in the sun between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. can help us deal with some of these extreme conditions. 100s right now up and down the valley, so that heat really sticking around here. You can see our hourly forecast will cool to near 70 by tomorrow morning, but we're right back with the intense heat as well as extreme fire danger. We'll talk about the new warnings coming into play this weekend.
All right, Monica, thank you. And as our changing climate is producing hotter, longer, and more frequent heat waves, some cities in our area are turning to something called cool pavement to help mitigate with the high temperatures. ABC 10's Becca Habecker explains a pilot program in Elk Grove is showing promising results.
It's a tale of 2 city pavements here next to Old Town Plaza in Elk Grove. One, your regular run-of-the-mill paved surface. The other here treated with a light-colored coating. It's known as heat-reducing pavement or cool pavement.
That doesn't absorb as much sunlight during the day and so then doesn't radiate as much heat at nighttime.
Carrie Whitlock is Elk Grove's Strategic Planning and Innovation Program Manager. She says the city is testing out this cool pavement treatment here starting in 2021 and along a section of trail treated last year.
We're still analyzing the trail segment. We saw with the parking lot that it could actually make a fairly significant, probably 20 to 30 degree difference in terms of the surface temperature, especially on really hot days.
Well, it's 112 degrees as I stand here, so let's see what this infrared thermometer measures between the 2 different paved surfaces. On the untreated side, it's reading about 138 degrees. Over here on the treated side, it's a more than 10-degree drop at about 127, 26 degrees.
And hotter cities are testing this out too, including Phoenix, where neighbors tell ABC 10's sister station KPNX they notice a difference.
And it is cooler walking down these areas.
Elk Grove is collaborating to study the effects of cool pavement with the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District and City of Davis, which received a $24 million federal grant back in April to fund its own cool pavement project. Its website lists more than a dozen priority segments of road that are set to be treated. As for Elk Grove, State Senator Angelique Ashby just announced a $440,000 grant for the city.
For us to really do a rollout plan for where would we do this throughout the city, along our trails, sidewalks, parking lot, transit stops, in addition to additional shading, additional tree plantings, and other heat mitigation strategies.
Helping to cool a warming environment. Becca Habecker, ABC 10.
And Elk Grove, Davis, and the Air District are working to secure a tool that will measure the ambient temperature several feet above the pavement. They want to test whether the cool pavement treatment makes a difference for how pedestrians and cyclists feel in the heat. And turning now to an update on a story that we brought to you as breaking news last night. 2 people have been arrested in connection with a double shooting outside a Walgreens store on Broadway. 19-year-old Abdul Rashad Tanko faces attempted murder charges. A 25-year-old was also charged as an accessory. It's still unclear what led up to the shooting, and both victims are listed as stable tonight. Turning now to Your Voice, Your Vote. Less than an hour ago, President Biden addressing the nation in his first news conference in 8 months. It comes as Biden continues to try to fend off growing calls for him to step aside, and after mistakenly calling President Zelensky and Vice President Harris by different names today. ABC's Em Nguyen has the latest tonight.
Tonight, President Biden facing tough questions as he wraps up this week's NATO summit.
Have you spent time thinking about what it would mean for your legacy, which you've worked decades to build, if you stay in the race, despite the concerns that voters say they have, and you lose to someone who you yourself have argued is unfit to return to the Oval Office?
Well, look, I'm not in this for my legacy. I'm in this to complete the job I started.
His first solo, unscripted press conference in 8 months, with growing doubts from his own party if he is fit for another term.
Looked at my schedule since I made that stupid mistake in the campaign, in the debate. I mean, my schedule has been full bore. I've done, where's Trump been? Riding around in his golf cart, filling out his scorecard before he hits the ball?
On Capitol Hill, more than a dozen House Democrats and counting calling on him to end his re-election bid, and others still wrestling with the issue.
Those conversations have been candid, comprehensive, and clear-eyed, and they continue.
It comes as the first Democratic Senator Peter Welch of Vermont is now calling on Biden to step aside. A new ABC News poll with the Washington Post and Ipsos shows a whopping 85% of the country thinks Biden is too old for another term. 60% think the same for Trump.
And ABC News has been told the Biden campaign is now testing head-to-head matchups of Vice President Harris against former President Donald Trump. It's a strategic shift that comes amid increasing uncertainty for Biden's candidacy. Still ahead, onto the point, more problems for PG&E as they work to underground their lines. What some of the first customers are now saying.
It's a lie. It's all a lie. I was very happy when I saw those commercials coming out saying they were going to do this, but what I see is not what they promoted on TV.
More heat in the forecast. Let's get over to Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods just in time for the fair.
I know,
Yay.
and a lot of folks are getting excited.
I know.
It's one of those things that you kind of look forward to in the summer, and we're going to have a hot one out there. It's all about planning, though. You can certainly participate in the state fair. They've got some cooling areas out there. In the morning, we're going to be in the 80s, and after sunset, we'll cool to about 91 by 9 p.m. It's really just during the middle part of the day that it's just that oppressive heat. Excessive heat warning remains in effect through Saturday throughout the valley. Heat advisory kind of surrounding that region. The headlines include major heat risk continuing through Saturday. Also, extreme fire danger coming into play this weekend. Temperatures staying near 110 tomorrow with heat illness risk still in play, with a red flag warning also in effect now into our Friday, Saturday, and Sunday forecast. We're going to be tracking this higher fire danger red flag warning in effect near Yosemite, a little bit higher up. It's a fire weather watch, and it's all around this ridge of high pressure. We got a low just off the coast, kind of driving in some moisture. This high taps into it and pumps it right up through the Sierra, giving us a slight chance of some showers and thunderstorms for the Sierra. The key element there is if we don't see the wetting rain, we get the lightning, some outflow winds that will be developing. Could see any of those lightning-sparked fires spread quickly. We'll see a near repeat of that on Sunday, and then things start to quiet on Monday. And also, start to cool as that high pressure starts to lose a little bit of its grip. Highs near 90 tomorrow for the Sierra, with 100s throughout the foothills. Across the coast, we're already starting to see the cooling. 60s tomorrow for San Francisco after hitting a high today of 81. Inland areas, we are going to see widespread 100s. In fact, for some locations, a little bit warmer than today. After that record setter in Sacramento at 113, we're going to cool down to 110. So not much relief, but there's a little bit day by day. Chance of thunderstorms Saturday and Sunday in the mountains. For the foothills, we're staying in the 100s Friday, 90s for the weekend, but still very warm for those overnight lows. 60s along the coast with a mix of sun and clouds out there. Our 3-day forecast shows that weather impact alert through Saturday, and then we're going to eliminate that by Sunday. We're going to start to see some cooling, but still quite warm. In fact, we start to bring back those 100s by the end of the next work week.
Next, on To the Point, a fire power money investigation. We're taking a look at PG&E, who is facing more problems with customers as they work to underground their power lines. Tonight, hear from customers as we get an inside look on the ground. PG&E customers could soon expect to pay more. Today, the California Public Utilities Commission allowed PG&E to increase their funding on expansion projects. PG&E says the potential impact to a typical non-care customer's bill from the decision in 2025 is about $1.40. 2026 is $2.20, and then in 2027, it's $3.10. The utility company says the increases are for quicker expansion so new homes can have energy and to add more electric charging stations. An independent third-party auditor will be hired to review how the funds are used. You can read more about the vote on our website right now, abc10.com.
You're worried about PG&E's power lines starting fires.
Correct.
And you're worried about if there's a fire for whatever reason, these poles might be falling across your way out.
Exactly.
We've done undergrounding. What letter grade do you give PG&E?
Oh, definitely an F.
Confusion, frustration, and fear. That's what we're hearing from PG&E customers who live in fire country, even after the power company sent in crews to bury power lines underground. It's expensive work meant to stop the power grid's notorious tendency to start big wildfires that burn homes and kill people. But people in some of the first neighborhoods to get the new underground power lines feel no safer than before. ABC 10 investigative reporter Brandon Ritteman takes us out to El Dorado County to see why.
In the rural California community of Cool, wailing gas generators echo through the foothills for the second fire season in a row.
Yep, every time the power goes out, this has to come out.
Stephanie Buss and her co-worker have to beat the punishing cool heat.
The 9 notices I received, the power will be out always 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
But their power's been shut off by PG&E again.
The first one was May 1st, then May 4th, then May 10th, May 18th, May 21st, May 28th, May 30th, June 7th, and June 10th.
Frustrated, Stephanie reached out to us. She already lived through shutoffs like these last summer when PG&E sent crews out here for this.
To make our power system safer and more reliable, we're transforming your hometown utility from the underground up.
After sparking fires that killed more than 100 people and burned down tens of thousands of homes, PG&E ran ads on TV, including on ABC 10, to promote its plan to bury power lines underground. It's meant to keep trees from falling on live wires, which is how PG&E's grid sparked most of those fires.
Since 2021, we've buried hundreds of miles of lines, with thousands more to come.
I was very happy when I saw those commercials coming out saying they were going to do this, but what I see is not what they promoted on TV.
After PG&E started undergrounding its lines here on Indian Rock Road, the neighbors were shocked to see PG&E suddenly stop, pull those power lines out of the ground, and shoot them back up into the air.
The crews PG&E sent this summer are all working above ground, putting new bare metal wires on top of new PG&E poles on this dry, tree-covered hillscape.
Does that feel like what, false advertising?
Absolutely, 100%. Well, they said they were going to underground all these lines. I was excited about that, but apparently their cost became too great. I don't know. They stopped.
Now that PG&E's done burying the lines here,
I'm going to reset my odometer here where the power line comes back out of ground and drive up to the spot where it goes underground.
Stephanie helped us measure. Of her 4-mile drive into town, how much undergrounding did PG&E actually do?
So we're at 0.3 miles. We got 0.3 miles underground. The rest is still above ground.
If the idea is fire safety, the safest thing would be to have no poles and no wires over your road.
Correct. But
And
we
what
have,
do you have?
we have more poles. Now we have poles next to poles and lines next to lines.
Sure enough, on the majority of Stephanie's road, we saw new PG&E poles standing right next to the old ones. Still there, with the tops chopped off and the old AT&T phone line attached.
During fires, poles fall down. You got lines across the road. So why didn't you do what you said on TV with all those ads? Why isn't my road system underground?
That's what Stephanie wants to ask PG&E's CEO, Patty Poppe, about the ad campaign.
Undergrounding power lines in the highest fire threat areas makes us safer, and it's less expensive in the long run.
Well, Patty lied on TV that everything was going underground.
Patty Poppe, who's been making promises in all those commercials that you and I are paying for, because the ratepayer pays for those commercials. Those promises are all false.
Loretta Lynch is a former state utilities commissioner. She used to regulate PG&E and its rates.
What's really happening is PG&E is proposing actions that pump up their profits, pump up their bottom line.
We contacted CEO Patty Poppe for this story. She didn't agree to take our questions.
Her salary, what I hear, is outrageous. So they're raising our rates to pay somebody a lot of money instead of making it safe for us.
Poppe's public relations team told us PG&E uses computer modeling to decide which miles of lines it's going to bury. Other miles get new poles meant to be stronger, which we saw on Indian Rock Road, or wires covered in protective plastic, which we didn't see.
It's still greed, I feel, because they've raised our rates and they're making all that extra money.
Greed was the motive named by local and federal prosecutors who together convicted PG&E of 91 felony crimes during the past decade, including the San Bruno explosion and PG&E's criminally negligent sparking of the deadliest wildfire in California history, the 2018 Camp Fire. PG&E pleaded guilty to 84 felony counts of manslaughter.
Our government, state government, let them off the hook. I think that there should have been some more, very much more severe penalties with regards to all the people that died.
PG&E used federal bankruptcy court to shield itself from the consequences of its disasters. Our investigative reporting also revealed Governor Gavin Newsom hired PG&E's longtime law firm to draft new state laws bailing PG&E out.
I think there's been a lot of enabling going on in Sacramento.
The prosecutors who convicted PG&E of manslaughter are skeptical of the company's undergrounding campaign, which Poppe herself announced.
We are committing to bury 10,000 miles of lines.
She rolled out the plan in 2021, while the Dixie Fire was still burning, consuming almost 1 million acres, including the town of Greenville and more than half of Lassen Volcanic National Park.
All PG&E's learned from its history is how to better conceal its crimes in the future.
10,000 miles is a lot of undergrounding, but it's only 10% of PG&E's entire grid. The other 90,000 miles of power lines are staying above ground. But the monopoly didn't put that in the ad.
They call you a customer, but do you feel like a customer with this company?
No, I feel like prey. We're just taken advantage of.
The neighbors on Indian Rock Road said no one from PG&E asked what they wanted, and when PG&E came to underground, nobody told them it would only be a fraction of a mile.
Do you feel any safer from wildfire?
No.
Stephanie pays plenty on her power bills. She wants to see PG&E treat this job like her and her neighbors' lives depend on it. Because the truth is, They do.
How many ways do you have out of here if there's another fire?
This is my only access out of my house, and the road system is a one way in, one way out.
And that was Brandon Ritteman reporting. This story comes from a viewer email who told us what was happening in her area. You too can be our eyes and ears in the community. In a written statement, PG&E said the area around Cool should have about 63 miles of hardening power lines, but fewer than 10 of those miles are slated to be buried. Despite PG&E's 91 felony convictions, it still has a state-protected monopoly over the delivery of power. Stay with us. We're back after this short break. That is our show tonight. Thank you so much for watching and for inviting us into your home. If you have something you think we should be looking into, make sure to reach out to me and the team. And remember, strangers are people we just haven't gotten the chance to meet yet, so take the time to get to know someone. Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.